It's a special edition of the wrap-up show here on Extra 1360, the expanded edition with John Schaefer and Jim Russell at John Schaefer, JONSCHAEFFER, at Jim Russell SD. Jim, we are growing. Tell us about how we're growing, actually.
Yeah, so instead of just having podcast form, we're taking the wrap-up show to YouTube. We're taking the wrap-up show to Facebook. We're taking a wrap-up show live to Twitter at times. It's just let's be real here. It's easier for us to do a podcast. I know you're in the studio right now, but when we're at home, we don't have to go to the studio. If there's something that happens, like breaking news, we can just pop on a live stream and react to the news of the day. And today there's a bunch of news, but this is something I think. Expanding, it'll be better for more people to view it and a lot easier too. Let's be real here. Like the way you consume podcasts nowadays, it's not just on the radio. It's, YouTube streams, live streams, Facebook, Twitter, like there's so many different ways. So yeah, we're going to expand here and it's gonna be fun.
All right. So find us on YouTube under Wrap-Up Show Podcast. I'm asking you as you do it. Wrap-Up Show Podcast on YouTube.
The Wrap-Up Show Podcast on YouTube. I think that's right. And anyway, we're going to post links. So. Yeah, we're going to post links to this stuff anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We're going to post a bunch of links. So if you want to right now, go subscribe to the Wrap-Up Show Podcast on YouTube and also on the iHeartRadio app. Hit the subscription button there, and you'll be all good to go.
All right, let's start with the story of the day. I mean, it has been a remarkable last 24, 48, 72 hours from everything that happened in St. Louis to Machado and Tatis essentially apologizing for their actions earlier today at Petco Park before this opener of this 3-game series against the San Francisco Giants. And then I thought our very own Marty Caswell asking a really good and pointed question to Jace Tingler. Ultimately, the question became, has Tingler lost the clubhouse? So what do we think, Jim? I mean, 10-24 in their last 34 games, worst record in the National League entering this Giants series. Essentially, they're out of playoff contention. The Cardinals winning again today, 4.5 games up with less than 2 weeks to play. So I think it's a fair question, right? Has Jace Tingler lost the clubhouse?
Anytime someone's asked, did you lose the clubhouse? It's not a good look. Let's be real here. If you have to ask somebody if they lost the clubhouse, most likely they lost the clubhouse. Just the way they've played, it's kind of hard not to have those thoughts in your head and to see everything that's been written about this team and to see the quotes from anonymous players about, they want a new leader and they don't think Tingler can lead. It's hard to say because we're not in there and there's not a true definitive answer to this, because it'd be easier if we could go in the clubhouse and, the reporters could actually talk to the players and not just have like one source. And so today he's lost the clubhouse. It's hard. I don't want to say yes, but at the same time, the way this team has played on the field, it's hard not to.
I mean, there's got to be an explanation. And we've talked about this a ton on Extra 1360 on the wrap-up shows. There has to be an explanation for why they played like this for this long. And I don't know what it is. Is it because of what happened July 30th at the trade deadline and what A.J. Preller was unable to accomplish? And if it goes back to that, then by association, Tingler's relationship with Preller, is Tingler seen as Preller in that clubhouse? And if so, post-July 30th, is that a negative? And I think you could argue it is. The way they've played, I mean, this went from a very good baseball team, right? I mean, they were a very good baseball team heading into the trade deadline, or at least heading into July.
They were 17 games above 500.
It's like it's a completely different team. And I don't have a real reason as to why. Is it the deadline? Is it the pitching injuries? Is it Jace Tingler? What really is the reason? But it all goes back to some type of dynamic shifted at the deadline, whether it was not making the moves they had hoped that they would make, whether it was Tingler being tied to Preller and they were upset that Preller didn't make moves like the Max Scherzer deal. But something has happened since July 30th that has negatively impacted this team, and it's not a good look on Jace Tingler. It's also not a good look on Preller or really any player in that clubhouse either. And just collectively, it just has not worked.
No, it's a horrible look for everybody involved here. And it's not just Tingler's fault. It's not just Preller's fault. It's everybody's fault. Players, front office, everybody is to blame for this whole thing. And you look at now the end of this season, heading into the off season, what are the moves that are going to happen? I think today, with firing the farm director, guy that's been there for, I think he's been there since AJ Preller's been hired. He's one of the first hires of AJ Preller. You see that move today, and it kind of signals to me like it's not going to be any big type of moves where Tingler or Preller could be gone. I could be wrong about Tingler. Tingler could be gone at the end of the season, but I highly doubt that Preller will be gone at all. I think that he is still firmly in charge of this whole thing. And you know, just the dynamic that has happened, the dynamic of that clubhouse. Again, we're not in there, but just hearing the reports, it's hard not to just point at the trade deadline. Like you said, that trade deadline is going to be like its own 30 for 30 for all Padres fans, because whatever happened at that trade deadline, whatever happened in that clubhouse, whatever happened with what the rumors were about Eric Hosmer and Max Scherzer, it affected this team. And Britt Giroli was on the Darren Smith show the other day, and she even mentioned that seriously, they're still talking about Max Scherzer. And it's already been a month and a half.
Which is amazing. And then we read the expose from Kevin, and we saw what Britt wrote with Dennis Lin at The Athletic. And I think there's been more written since. Well, first of all, a couple of things. Do we have any sound or video from either Tingler today addressing the media related to this topic, or do we have even the apology that we heard today? I was surprised that Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. never had the opportunity to speak with the media before today. I mean, what happened on Saturday in St. Louis, which, by the way, and we learned this today, and we thought it when it happened. This isn't about Machado and Tatis' long-term ability to coexist. Shoot, they're brothers. We knew that. I mean, they have a very healthy respect for each other. What happened in the dugout, it can occur, obviously, in sports. It's not a good look because of the way they're playing, obviously, right now. And we knew they'd be fine after the fact. I was surprised we never heard from them Saturday night, maybe even Sunday before the game, Sunday after the game. We had to wait until Tuesday to find out actually what happened. And the good news is they apologized. They made up. They'll be stronger for it. But do we have any of the sound either from Tingler or from Machado and Tatis today?
Yeah, so hold on one second here. I'm going to pull up Jace Tingler talking before the game to the media. He was asked by Marty, by other reporters. I think
Scott Miller.
Scott Miller was asking a question as well. And here is Jace Tingler talking to the media about, does he think he's lost the clubhouse?
And I know that right now, you and the rest of this team, you guys you're focused right now on getting to the postseason and turning this season around. But how much does job security come into equation? And have you had those talks with management at this point?
No, I don't. I think, those will be discussions for the end of the year. And Marty, it's something, honestly, like I don't think about. I don't do this job for job security or anything like that. And that's the honest to God truth. The focus is on this series and these last couple weeks and getting these guys prepared day in, day out, so we can play our best baseball.
Do you think that topic can become a distraction in the clubhouse?
I would say, like, the guys they've been around, they're professional. I would say, no, honestly, I don't think it's a distraction. And, it's our job as coaches. And I'm fortunate enough to have a group of coaches with a ton of experience. I think it's our job to take away some of those distractions so these guys can prepare and then ultimately go play without distraction.
Especially since the blow up in the dugout, there's so much national speculation about your status as it relates to the team, and whether you've lost the clubhouse or haven't. I just perspective only to give you a question to ask your thoughts on that and your response.
I don't think so. I don't think I've lost the clubhouse. Ultimately, we haven't played the way that I think we're capable of. And let me start with this is, as the manager, ultimately I'm responsible for the players' performances, and I take the responsibility on. I don't look to point the finger anywhere else. I start with myself. I do think we're capable of playing better. But at the end of the day, I don't believe I've lost the clubhouse.
And I know that right now you and the rest.
Okay, so he said he doesn't think he's lost the clubhouse, but what else is he supposed to say?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to say. If I'm being honest, Jim, I mean, to some extent, I feel there's some part of me that says, you kind of feel generally bad for a guy that was put into this situation. That's a tough one. I mean, he didn't hire himself. AJ Preller hired someone that lacked the experience that was probably necessary for this role, for the 162 game season, for National League Baseball. This isn't what it was last year. It isn't. It's a completely different sport what they're playing right now. 162 with 5 teams in the National League making the postseason, and with the pitcher hitting is a different sport than what we saw last year in the 60 game season. If there's one thing I like that he said, Jim, it's that he took some responsibility. We've talked about this a ton on the wrap-up show. I'm always asking, where's the accountability? Is it with AJ or Jace or in the clubhouse? Today, I heard a number of people take some level of responsibility and accountability, beginning with Tingler, who said, it starts with me. I'm the manager. I'm tasked and responsible for getting this team to play well. And if they don't, to a large extent, that's on me. So we heard that from Tingler. And then we heard from Manny and Tatis earlier today about what happened on Saturday. And they were apologetic for what happened. And they spoke specifically to the fans about it as well.
Yeah, and so they talked to a scrum of media people, and Marty, of course, was in the middle of that. And so here's Manny and Tatis just addressing what happened Saturday night.
I'm gonna answer the question you guys are gonna ask me away, and that's all we're gonna talk about here. This incident happened Saturday, so we're here to address it. It's something that it was unfortunate that happened in the clubhouse inside the dugout. In a crucial situation for us as a team. We also got to apologize to the fans for being able to, see that. But, we handled it internally as a team. We're the leaders of this organization, of this team. So, we're just trying to, with the pressure of trying to win, the emotions that go through everything. We got Fernando over here is about to win the MVP. We got a team that's trying to compete and get to the World Series. We haven't been playing so great baseball, so emotions get involved and gets the better of us at all times. And those are situations that we learn as leaders, as a team, as an organization, and we just get better from that. So, with that being said, we're here to take away the distractions from the team. We got bigger fish to fry. We got bigger things to be worrying about right now than to be worrying about something that's not a big deal. So we're gonna go out there and play baseball. We got 14 more games, 13 more games left, and we got to try to win all of them to get to where we want to be.
I love it. I don't have any problem with it. I love what they said. Tatis and Machado spoke some more, but Machado also said that Tatis is like his little brother, and they're always going to be like brother. Like that's the relationship they have, and sometimes they blow up. Sometimes there's a disagreement, and because they are playing so poorly, because they are essentially out of a playoff spot, like permanently,
Yep.
tempers flare, and that's what happened. And I loved how Machado came out and was like, look, sorry to the fan base for seeing that. Like, we don't want you to think that we are not cool, because this is my little brother right here. Like, I love this guy. It's just, you gotta let the fan base know that, look, we're upset just as much as you, and we're doing it every single day. This is a grind, and to get up in the club, the dugout there, it's not a big deal.
No, I'm with you 100%. I love what Manny said. I love seeing them together again. They're 100% fine. They'll be stronger for it. I know Tatis said that today. It might not be in 2021, by the way, but these guys are going to play together for a long time. There's a really good chance that they play together for at least 7 more seasons, which is Machado's final 7 seasons of this 10-year deal. And there's a very good chance that Tatis is around, obviously, for a lot longer than that, being part of this 14-year deal. they will ultimately be better off for it. It's hard to say right now that the Padres will be better off moving forward for what's happened here in 2021. They may be, though. Well, we don't know. We don't know what happened in 2022. We had Dan Zaborski on today on Extra 1360 from Fangraphs. He wrote before the season started, he thought the Padres would win 98 games. He then followed up today and said just because they're not going to is not a reason to necessarily turn the ship drastically for 2022. And he used 6, 8, 10 examples of clubs over the last 20 years. Some teams that were expected to have seasons like this actually were able to reverse course the next season and have success. There's no guarantee of it. But again, some of the starting pitching injuries, I'm not saying keep it. I'm not saying Jace Tingler has to be back. But I am saying that the core of this team does have to be back. And just because the core of this team may be disappointed this year and this team's going to finish 81 and 81, doesn't mean they're not capable of winning 90 games next year. We don't know what next year looks like.
Right. And we've said this multiple times. Like, this team has a really good core. They have Tatis, Machado, Cronenworth, Musgrove. Put maybe Grisham in there. That's a pretty good core to start with. Maybe Snell.
Yeah, Snell and Darvish, hopefully.
Yeah, if you take Snell's last 7 or 8 starts, then that's the Snell you want. Darvish, a little older, but look, you got the right pieces there. You just need the right person to make everything go. And that's why it's hard for me to envision Jay Stingler coming back, because in the first full season you had with this team, it turned into a train wreck. And now we're getting reports of you lost the clubhouse. So to me, it's kind of over for him. And I am definitely not on the side of AJ Preller should still be making moves. But again, he has a big contract. Not a big contract, but a lot of years left on his contract. That's what I mean. And so he's already making moves today. So I don't know. My take on it is like start new. But again, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it will either. I do think that there's a very legitimate case to be made for changing the manager. And I do think that there's a case to be made that if you had a different manager, the prospects for this team right now would be a lot better than they've been. There's no guarantee, and I'm not going to say that the manager is the difference between this team going 162 and 80 and 82. Right. But if you did have that veteran manager that's been in similar seasons before where there are dips, could he get the thing under control and level the ship a little bit earlier than the Padres have been able to do it? And we don't even know if the ship ever gets leveled. These final 13 games are very challenging. Giants, Dodgers, Braves. I mean, if they go 4-9 down the stretch, they'll finish with the worst record in baseball over their final 45 games. They need to play good baseball to avoid being the worst team in the National League here down the stretch. So I'm with you. I think there's a case to be made for changing the manager. There's a case to be made for changing the general manager, by the way. But when it comes to the Tatises and the Machados and Eric Hosmer could be back. Will Myers could be back. You're going to need Darvish and Snell and Musgrove. You're going to need Mike Clevenger in 2022. There's not going to be a zillion moves. They've got a lot of money tied up already in payroll. And by the way, I don't find it to be a coincidence that Peter Seidler was in St. Louis this weekend. I think changes are coming. I just don't know how significant those changes are going to be. But if I'm guessing, and if this ends the way we all think it's going to end, I think there will be real, tangible, significant changes.
Yeah, and it's all about you got to figure out if Tingler and Preller are the two guys to lead this organization to a World Series. That's point blank, end of story. That's the question. Yes, the players have to play.
It's not about
extremely better. Like, the players have so much fault in this that I feel like they're kind of getting off the hook a little bit because we're talking so much about Tingler and Preller. But the players need to step this thing up too. But again, who puts those players in those spots? It's Tingler and Preller. So that's why I'm of the mindset that, is it the players' fault for being there? Yes, but also put in a situation and they're failing.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a chicken and egg situation. I mean, it really is. I think it's going to be a very interesting couple of weeks is the best way I'd put it, because I don't think this lingers on. I think you have the full body of work at the end of the next 2 weeks. You know what this team accomplished. You know what they didn't accomplish. So I think these next couple of weeks are going to be very telling, and we'll see. We'll see. I mean, do they have anything in them here? Do they have a run in them? Even if they did, I mean, 13-0 likely isn't enough. Shoot, the Cardinals have won 10 consecutive games. So we'll see what they do here over these final 13 games. All right. So this is the expanded wrap-up show podcast. Jim, tell us one more time, how do you find this? Although if you're listening to it and you're watching it, I guess you know.
I guess you already know, but we're on YouTube now, the Wrap-Up Show podcast page on YouTube. You can go to the iHeartRadio app. Make sure you follow us there, the Wrap-Up Show. It is extremely easy to find our content now because we're expanding so much. So yeah, it's extremely easy, and just I'll just post this right here. There we go. Subscribe on YouTube and the iHeartRadio app.
Dude, we're pumped. We're going to do this throughout the last couple of weeks of the regular season. We'll do it all off season. Again, if you are a Padres fan, if you're a fan of the show, if you're looking for more content related to the Padres, follow Jim. He's unbelievable at Jim Russell SD. Follow me at John Schaefer. Again, JONSCHAEFFER. Jim, I'll see you actually in about 20 minutes because we're going to do a wrap-up show following this Padres-Giants game 1 of the series. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be doing it throughout the remaining couple of weeks and throughout the offseason as well. This has been the wrap-up show right here on Extra.